In northeast Louisiana lies a legend that many outside the community are unaware of. The legend has been around for over 50 years and is ran by another legend himself.
Sparky McDuffie, coached West Monroe Boxing Club, director Louisiana Golden Gloves, director Louisiana Silver Gloves, director of the Louisiana State Games, vice president USA Boxing Southern Association.
Okay. When was the boxing club started?
1971, December of 1971.
And it was started by your dad, Buck McDuffie, correct?
Right.
Okay. What made your dad want to create a boxing gym in West Monroe, Louisiana, of all places?
Well, he'd been involved in boxing since he was in the Marine Corps, and when he got out, he actually had a couple other small gyms that he worked with back in the mid to late 50s, early 60s, and but none of them ever really took. So he'd always wanted to have another gym, and everything just kind of came about at the right time.
With every great head coach comes great assistant coaches, and this place is no exception. Helping Sparky is a man that has trained in multiple combat sports for almost 30 years.
I'm Joey Hickson. I'm one of the assistant coaches here.
The West Monroe Boxing Club has been here a long time. What do you think has managed to make it stay as long as it has?
Honestly, it's consistency. We have our ups and downs just like any gym, but we're established. I mean, Sparky's dad started the boxing club in '71. That's 1971, so it's been here 55 years now. People know Sparky's name. They know the West Monroe Boxing Club. We do a couple tournaments a year here, so we stay pretty consistent. And we stay true to what we started, just developing fighters and developing young men and women.
The gym trains an assortment of fighters ranging in age and experience. Several professional boxers train in the West Monroe Boxing Club. One of the more known ones right now is Blake Lacasse.
First started training at 13 years old. First time I came in the gym was at 8. I come in at 13 when I got older because we moved a lot, and that's when I started competing, was 13 years old.
What do you remember about your first day here?
First day at the boxing gym, it was tough. I remember getting to spar my first time, and I got in here with Michael Wade, and he broke my nose the very first day, first time I sparred. And I kind of itched on it for about 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, I can't wait to get back and get that guy.
Every boxing club is full of amateur fighters hoping to one day make it big in the sport they love. Some come in with experience already, and some come in with none, each one with their own potential for greatness.
What first made you choose this gym?
Well, I had a friend named Adrian, and I used to train with him at a jiu-jitsu gym in Monroe, and he recommended this place to me, and I met him up here one day, and I've been here ever since.
What was the vibe like compared to the other gyms you've trained at?
Very laid back, more kind of freeing in a way. It wasn't no structure. It wasn't like a certain class, certain time you had to be there. It was you showed up and did your work. It was kind of like an old school boxing club kind of vibe, if I had to say so.
What made me want to train here was just the history of this gym, being that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the longest running boxing gym in Louisiana. So being that I'm from the Monroe area and this was the nearest gym to me, it just made sense for me to come over here, check it out, and I just fell in love with the culture over here since day one.
Well, I think the boxing gym is valuable because it offers another sport, just another opportunity in our community. Of course, there's football, baseball, now we have volleyball, but boxing is again another option, so to diversify our sporting options in our athletic options in our community. But also it offers something because it doesn't cost a lot to go to the boxing gym. It doesn't cost a lot. It's not a lot of expensive equipment like there might be in some of the other sports. So it's definitely an opportunity maybe to be involved in a sport that has minimal financial requirements.
This gym is for a lot of people that, I guess, for if you're having a hard time or the less fortunate, this has always been like a refuge for them people to run to and blow a little steam off for the day, or even better their lives or get better.
When did you take over the gym?
In 1985.
Did you originally want to do that, or was it, your dad passed and then I felt it was my calling to do it?
Well, that's pretty accurate right there, because I was coaching football, was athletic director at a high school and football coach, and I'd always planned to pursue that. But the boxing came along, and we had to have somebody take over. Just couldn't leave it, so I did that, and it's all worked out for the best.
With so much history in the West Monroe Boxing Club, and Sparky picking up the coaching mantle after his father's passing, I could not help but wonder what's changed in 50 years. Change is inevitable across life, but has Sparky's approach to coaching changed from his father's? Have the people that come into the gym changed?
Is there anything you initially, when you first started coaching, that you were like, I'm doing this differently than my dad did? Was there something you just feel like, okay, this works better than this? Or you do it the exact same way he did?
Well, I made little changes later on. I know back when we had it, the only people that worked out in the gym were the ones that were going to fight. We didn't have people come in just to work out. If you came to the gym, you fought. And we've changed it up a little bit. A lot of it in necessity, I guess, because having to run the gym, we had to create some income, and that was a way to do that, having people come in and just work out and pay out, that funds the gym.
How would you say your coaching style is different than Sparky's?
Well, it's really kind of hard to say because I've been under Sparky for 26 years, so I would say he's really old school. First day you could spar. Well, with me, I'd prefer to have them develop some skills first and then spar. But that's more for me, is I'm already dealing with kids who have bullying issues, so I don't want to put them in the ring and get them beat up too quick. I want them to learn how to defend themselves.
How does the coaching style here match the way you want to learn?
Well, I don't know if this is going to be answering the question right, but say, for instance, Joey, me and him have very similar styles in how we box. We're both pressure fighters. We both like to be in the pocket a lot. So I feel like I can learn a lot from him simply due to having the same type of style. And then with Sparky can also teach me in that way of being a pressure fighter. Shows me different kind of stuff, different looks versus what Joey can show me. I feel like, especially with Sparky will try to hone in on what you're very good at. For instance, when I'm hitting mitts, Sparky and me will work a lot of stuff up close and personal, a lot more ankle changes and a lot more hooks and uppercuts, more punches you would throw while in the pocket. Versus with other people, for instance, there's a person named Gray up here. When you watch him and Sparky work mitts, and when they're doing their one-on-one, it's more long-range attacks, more jabs, more straights, more looping hooks, more stuff that he's very good at versus what I am, which is pocket stuff.
Glean from coaches like Joey, he can relate to me, saying, hey, I know that you are pretty profound in what you do, so whether you want me to help you out to a certain extent or not, just let me know, and he just adapts to me based on that. And then Sparky's the same way. He's like, any coach in here, I can adapt to them and they can adapt to me, so it's a hand-in-hand fit, works out for me.
When Sparky puts on a show, it takes a lot of pressure off us because we don't have to double check. Everything is perfect. Somebody like Sparky has been doing it his whole life, and the reputation that he has, he knows what he's doing, and we really appreciate somebody like Sparky.
My head coach, and I have some other professionals that have helped me along the way, so I get to pull from each one of them and learn from them, and they know who I am as a fighter, and they have adapted to my skill set, being that I'm typically a counter fighter, but they've also been able to pour into me to where I can adapt to different styles and just add different tools to my toolbox. So I had the right coach for the right thing at the right time.
As I gathered more information and learned more about the fighters, it became clear history was very important to all of them. Even more fascinating was how one man's name kept coming up.
Would you consider the most famous person that's come out of here? I know we've talked about several guys being on ESPN, and then so I know Michael's been on ESPN. Savage, he got pretty far, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he was a world champion. So that's probably, I would say he's gone the furthest. I mean, he was #1 ranked in the world as an amateur. And then he got up, said he won the IBC world title and fought for the IBF world championship. So he was a top fighter.
He trained Richard Savage, a pro who went a decent far way into the sport.
Was there an older boxer when you were new here that helped you?
Oh, absolutely. I would have to say Richard Savage. Up until Richard's health got bad, he would make his way to some of my pro fights, some of my amateur fights, and he's just someone I always idolized.
I interviewed Kai earlier, and he even talked about Richard Savage. What was it about him, that made him special? Because I think by the time I even started training here, he was retired. So, I mean, he helped me for one boxing match, too. And what do you think? I mean, everybody talks about him that's got a chance to meet him. What is it about him?
Richard's like the hidden gem that was never found. So when I say I idolize Richard was just kind of like the epitome of like a real fighter. He would just train upon train upon train. He was the guy that would come running in 10 miles to the gym. He was the guy that would spar and do a full workout and then run 10 miles back home. And just hearing those stories from my coach, it just made me idolize him and look up to him, because that's the epitome of what a fighter should be, is dialed in.
What was it that made Richard Savage so special?
He was just, the biggest thing was just his boxing ability. I mean, when he started off, his nickname when he first started boxing was, they called him Billy Joe, because he just rushed in there with his head down. But then as he went on, I think he got in a street fight at school or something. A guy tried to grab him and he broke the guy's arm. So then they started calling him Bone Crusher. But I mean, he was just, we thought with that nickname he'd be just a killer puncher. And he could punch, but his boxing ability probably set him aside from everybody else. He was just an outstanding boxer. Had speed, had all the combinations. He was just a classic good boxer.
Just a natural athlete. I was fortunate enough to train with him a little bit when he was older, but just stories when he was younger. Just phenomenal athlete, lightning fast. I know several years ago now, when I first started, I sparred with him, threw my jab, and I kind of opened up, and before I knew it, I felt his glove touch both sides of my face. He hit me square. I went to spin out of it, or the shoulder roll, and he caught me before I hit the mat. Just lightning fast. And I think one of my favorite memories, we went to Houston, a guy named Thomas Grissom, Slim, and I fought on a Saturday, and Richard fought a guy on Friday. It was a six-rounder, and the guy was ranked number 6 in the world time, and Richard had been retired for years. Come back, and Richard beat him round after round, round after round. And at the end of the fight, of course, it goes to the judge's decision, and the judges gave it to the hometown guy. And man, when I tell you, I was heading out the door, I thought the crowd was going to riot when Richard lost. So you know it's got to be a one-sided whooping whenever the hometown guy gets beat or wins on the judge's card, but the crowd themselves know they got beat.
My favorite boxing memory, it wouldn't involve me, and it would be the first time that I ever went to a fight. And I was 7 years old, and Richard Savage was making his very last fight. My dad drove over to Shreveport with me, and we sit up in the nosebleeds, and I just so happened to sit with Richard's 5 or 6 sisters. And Richard put on an onslaught, beat this hometown guy, took his belts, and I'll never forget everybody in the nosebleeds just leaving. Everybody was pandemonium. Everyone just rushed the ring. And I'm a little 7-year-old boy, and I'm sitting up in the nosebleeds, like looking around. Nobody's around but just me. Even my dad left. And I'm looking down at that ring, and they're toting Richard around. I got a taste of boxing. I said, oh, I want to be this.
Watching a lot of the boxers train on their own and with the coaches, I finally asked the all-important question, what does it take to be a boxer?
Number one is being in top condition. If they're not going to be in top condition, it's hard for me to worry about them. But they've got to be in shape, and then they've really got to want to. They got to want to improve, want to train hard. So, like I said, the experience is not like it used to be. They're not going to have the experience like they did 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Any advice you can give to new people that wasn't given to you specifically?
Oh, just conduct yourself well. I spoke on this a while back, or a couple weeks ago on an interview. Just conduct yourself well, because whether it's the kids in this gym or even the coaches or it may say the parents, everyone's watching, and your character speaks for yourself, and that says a lot. And that also accumulates into business. And the better business we do, the more business comes. So that would be my big thing to everybody, is just conduct yourself well, carry yourself very well.
You're not going to turn every kid that wants to be a fighter into a fighter. But what you can do is you develop a plan for them. You've got to be in shape. You've got to have your wind. You got to get your road work in. You've got to develop a defense, because offense gets the glory, but defense wins the game. And once an athlete develops those two basics, then you can move into working on drills where they're not afraid to get hit. Because getting hit doesn't hurt. Being afraid of getting hit is what hurts.
What would you tell another amateur boxer who's thinking about joining this gym?
I'll tell them to do it. It's a great spot to start out with. You could go pro here. I think you can have a good pro career here if you put the work into it. And especially for amateur fighting, I feel like this is a good spot to be. It's, it has its rooted history. There's a lot of great amateurs who come out of this gym, and I think this is the best spot in Northeast Louisiana to start your amateur career.
With other combat sports on the rise, I was curious, was Sparky concerned with the future of boxing?
What are, I guess, the complexities and uncertainties of running the West Monroe Boxing Club?
Well, I guess you said the uncertainty and just trying to keep the doors open. Luckily, our overhead is not a whole lot compared to a lot of places we're in with the city.
Do you foresee boxing and MMA always kind of, it always shares a space, but it is kind of its own separate thing? Do you ever foresee one kind of taking over and the other one not existing, or is it they're both kind of just here to stay?
Well, that's a good question, because for the past several years, boxing has been on the downside in our state, and MMA has been on the upswing. But we're now seeing more boxing gyms starting to form down in South Louisiana, and I say in the last 24 months we've picked up 5 new boxing promoters. So that's encouraging and lets me know that boxing's starting to be on the upswing as well. So I look forward to boxing having a lot more shows than what we've had in the past.
With the future for boxing looking bright and the sport on the rise, the boxing club looks set up to have a great future. One thing I noticed in all the time spent doing interviews and gathering footage was just how loved the club and the coaches are to everyone that trains there.
I love to see young people training and growing through the boxing gym, because again, it's a place that they may not have any opportunity somewhere. And so if this is a way to get opportunity to improve their lives, improve their future, give them purpose, if you would, then we want to make sure that people have everything they can to improve their lives and the lives of their families.
How has Sparky changed over the years?
Old Sparky, he's the same as always. I don't think he's really changed that much. He's always been a great guy, great coach. He was there for me in a hard time in my amateur days, going through it and not having no parents and nothing. He made sure I got to the amateur shows and the nationals, and yeah, Sparky's been big on my life.
I came in with the mindset of being the best version of myself. That has never changed, never wavered. But along the journey that I've had here at West Monroe Boxing Club, I've been able to gain some lifelong friends and a lifelong trainer and coach, or Sparky McDuffie. I've been able to just learn from people and glean from them and just build relationships and build bonds that I couldn't have done any other way just by being a part of this organization. So I'm really, really grateful for that. And it's just helped me to become just a better person inside the ring and outside the ring as well.
I think having a sense of belonging at a gym is very important. It can motivate you in a lot of different ways. For instance, say if I came up here and I didn't feel like I belonged, or I wasn't really, I guess, important here as I thought I would want to be. It would motivate me in different ways. So say I wouldn't want to come up here. If I wasn't feeling like I belonged up here or was wanted up here, it would probably drive me away from the gym, probably drive me to a different gym. But I feel very wanted up here. I feel very important, and it makes me want to come up here and wants to put the time into this place.
With the West Monroe community firmly behind the boxing club and the coaches held in high regard, everyone, including myself, is curious, what does the future hold for this legendary establishment?
Sparky is definitely a legend. He has trained a lot of boxers over the years. I had a really good friend that had trained, and he and all of his brothers actually competed in the Golden Gloves and held titles and had belts and all. But even as an adult, I actually went and did some training with Sparky just to go do it, and it's great exercise, and I decided that was not my thing. But it offers a lot. But Sparky is well known. I love the legend. I love how he has poured into the youth of our community.
Your dad is probably happy that, you know what, I started something and all these years later, it's still going.
Yeah, probably so, because, I would have never thought, even when I took over, in that 1985, I said, 5-10 years, that'd probably be tops. But here we are. Here we are now in 2026, so, I mean.
Are you surprised at how long the boxing gym has lasted and that it's still going strong?
It really is. It's due to Sparky. It's due to him and Joey keeping the legacy alive that Sparky's daddy started back when we were kids. And this thing will never die as long as Sparky's breathing.
Do you see the boxing gym still being here in 20 years?
The boxing gym will be here as long as it's going to be here. I see it being here until, I don't know, to be honest with you, I think it'll be here as long as the Lord lets it be here.
I wanted to tell the story of the West Monroe Boxing Club just because it kind of is a second home, but it's been there for forever. It's talked about in the community. You would, it is a landmark, but you would think like this place is just the be all end of the way it gets talked about. And I just wanted to be able to share this story and kind of research it myself as to why, it's been there for so long. It's been in the same spot for so long. No air conditioning in the summer. It's 100, it's hot. Winter, it's cold. But people still just love it and treat it like, and even myself, I treat it like, that's holy ground.